We'll see if he can get back out of there. Keep going, keep going. You are now watching Farming with Duffy Ag. Welcome back to the channel. It's going to be another hot one. I think we're getting 90, 92, a lot of humidity. Got a rake that is missing a tire. The wheel bearing fell apart inside of it. Got our spare old rake. It snapped an arm off and we upgraded to the other one, and that was the end of that. So gonna pop the tire off of it and then go down, pop it on the other one, and should be good to go. All it is get your dust cap. Try not to lose all your tools. Then you get a nut. So we'll wipe that up a little bit. Put a socket on it. Zing it off. And then the whole wheel comes off. Alrighty, that should just slide out once I take the weight off of it. And we are off. We're gonna go shuffle some equipment around, get the rake fixed, drop this off. Gonna pick up, probably get into chopping. What is it, 8 o'clock right now? Probably get into chopping around 10. All good now. We're gonna have to put some bushings in between there where it pivots on the walking beam. But yeah, he made it right there and it lost the tire. Well, sun's got to come out for a little bit before we can really rake this. It's got moisture on the top. Hour or two and this stuff will be ready to rake probably. So we'll go move some things around. Now we're in business. Back to raking. Truck's over here, chopper's over here. It's all right there and right there. So. Well, we made a little ruts here. This is soaking wet. Right there has standing water. Out there has standing water. So Andy's gonna give it a, you know, good old college try and full send it back out of here. We got all this chopped up. It's dry right up in here, but the water level is right over there. And yeah, I figured we'd chop this first when he was halfway, when he was empty, and he's about halfway full now. We'll see if he can get back out of there. Keep going, keep going. There he goes, he's out. Last bit, making her fit. That is a solid load. Right in. Stopped for some lunch. We all got lunch. We are on the move now. Got to pick up. Got the rake. I'll let him go first because he can get ahead of me. And then we're gonna drive back, and I don't know where Andy doesn't know where he's going, I don't think. So my father did did all the talking. So American Agriculturalists magazine, one of their writers came and stopped and talked about it. He was doing farms around the Northeast, visiting them and whatnot, and he was flying out of Boston, so he stopped in to talk. So I don't know, they talked for an hour. I finished up chopping and then we were moving blocks, so just talked to him. He watches a YouTube channel, so I appreciate it.
At all, and now they're saying 0.1 inches an hour for 1 hour, and then like nothing again. So me and Andy are in here in Yanko. It's one big party, and we're headed to the field. My father's gonna be behind us. We'll see how much we can chop before Mother Nature tells us no more, and then we'll hold out and get back into it. Probably this evening. Get the mowers going again. It's raining over there back towards the farm. It's raining over there, but that's the weather that we're gonna get. So hopefully it misses us. The rain went south of us, as you can see, and then it poured at the farm as well, which isn't a bad thing, but then the sun came back out. So with that being said, we got this little bit and that, a little sticky in that field. So I'll probably chop this next one into my father and get him moving. They're moving some gates out of the way, fence posts and whatnot, so we can get in without getting stuck. Look at this, the sun's coming out. Good day. One load left. We'll do it with the Mac because it gets wet. Both mowers are going now. I'm gonna teach Andy how to drive on the road. You ready for this? First time on the big road. So we got that pile of heifer feed that we made off the grass that got rained on, and we're making a bunk here in our corn bunk of the remainder of second so that we can transition through it when we go into third cutting. Andy made it home safe and sound. That load's not completely full. We just ran out of area that we can chop. He'll get that dumped or unloaded, I guess, and then I'll push it up and we'll go back, finish up that field, and hopefully we're running both mowers. Things should be really, really good as far as them getting some fields done so we can keep chopping this afternoon. I don't know, it's 3:30 or something. It's like 92 degrees, humidity. We got missed by all of the rain, but as you see here, there's puddles. It absolutely downpoured and then it was good again. So we got lucky there that every field that we're working in is didn't get any rain. We had light raindrops and that was it. Get that all the way unloaded. That is a rig. I absolutely love that truck. Fit a lot of grass in it. I really wish I had the 7520. That would be, it might be a little too wide, so we're over here. So when I was in New Zealand, I ran a 950 cat. It was, well, it was the mixing loader, but they had buck rakes on it, and then they also had duals for the front. And it was a pretty sweet packing rig. I'm not a big fan of loaders because you kill torque converters. I know in Europe and a lot of places like that, well, Europe, they sell ag special wheel loaders that have upgraded torque converters, because this is just backwards and forwards, and motors really aren't meant for that. That's part of the reason why we have a 924F sitting out back that needs a torque converter of years of pack and silo. And it did an okay job, but really a tractor is what needs to be on here. Granted, yeah, didn't get around to finishing the 7520. We might see in the future a straight frame tractor, getting it set up with a blade. I think that would be good for us too. That way somebody could run that, because the 7520 does take a good operator. Hopefully after this clutch job it's a lot better off, but it definitely isn't it's definitely not a power shift that you can just hammer back and forth and pack bunk like this. I can just click this backwards and forwards and away it goes. This doesn't have enough weight in my eyes. Granted, we're slow paced, but we're not load right after one after another. That allows us to give us some time to push up and somebody jumps on it. So my father had dumped the load and then ran right back to us, which was good because that means he could go mowing, and he is using the new tractor. I told him go give it a go. And Francis goes in the 7320 with the old mower. So yeah, by the time we get back, they'll be done with the next 7 acres and on to, I think the next one's another 7 acres, maybe 8 acres, and definitely gonna be good, I hope. It's either that or I get back in the mowers in pieces and they just gave up on the old one and just running the new one, which very well could be at the rate that that old mower gave us issues. I'm sure somebody's going to say don't lift your bucket, but that's the only way to get right up to the front. You just got to be careful, know what you're doing, so you don't roll this thing over. Get right up to the sides. This thing's almost been on its side a few times. Never by me, but we always get it back over. They're not the ideal thing for being on weird inclines and whatnot. Sure, somebody's also going to wonder why did we put this over here. So feeding grain feed's okay. Feeding feed that's fermenting is bad for a cow's ration. They struggle to make milk, they don't like change, so it's much better to have fermented feed that's been sitting and silaging for a period of time. So that is why the feed that's in the bunk next door is mostly first cut. We ate through the second cut that we chopped already, and we struggled with it, so we said everything else is going in its own bunk and helping us transition between when we get to the next cutting. I think we're gonna fill this little bunk pretty full, and have to add some blocks to the end. We only went too high because when there's stuff not behind it, it gets a little sketchy after pushing against it and packing, and we have had walls fall down and stuff like that, just due to trying to get it packed on the edges, because the edges are always the hardest spots to get packed and get all the air out. And we pack it because it pushes the air out, and the air causes bacteria to grow, and then it just makes feed quality rotten. So big key part is packing it down to get all that out of it and get good quality feed from it. If we were just going to dump it in a pile and cover it, it would be rotten. And yeah, you don't make any milk and you don't make any money on rotten feed when you're dairy farming. That's also why we tried to cut 28-30 days since each cutting. Granted, our first cutting to our second on some of it was late because of how the mower gave me a headache. I'm happy, very happy with the new mower and how we're running now, and things have been good. Back to chopping. Andy didn't kill us on the ride to and fro, so that was his first big adventure. Other than it being tall and people being dumb, it's really not that hard to drive that thing. People being dumb is a pretty big part of it. Can't change that about people. Chopping some wet spots. The grass is good, but the field's just wet. We're right down by the Concord River, and so it's been flooding because, well, we got a lot of rain. And we're currently gambling. It says it's only supposed to rain like drizzle later. So I'm told the mowers keep going. So hopefully that works out, and tomorrow we can actually get a bunch done before it rains tomorrow afternoon. Yeah. Good feed though. But you can see it's pretty wet. The ground itself. So I'm always watching his tires, making sure he's not sinking in. As you see, there is the water level right there. So that goes around. We'll get a stream that goes over there. And actually, neighboring property this spring we battled, it had high water. They've been pumping water since this spring over the river because the beavers are over the road because the beavers plugged it up. So they have a huge generator, a huge pump pumping water. Problem is when they pump that water, which was like 15 foot higher than normal, it just goes to a flooded area anyways because the river's so high. Granted, there's places that, like the guys in Addison County that are on clay, their corn looks rough, and they can't get on to do anything, can't fertilize it, can't give it nitrogen because it won't stop raining. Or the guys out in Manitoba and things like that, western part of the U.S. that are in drought conditions. That just there's nothing growing. Mother Nature, she's always going to battle you, no matter what you do. You just got to keep going. Otherwise, you can't just give up. Otherwise, yeah, you never make it. Gotta stay positive, keep pushing through. Chopper's been loving it though. I think I finally got a lot of it figured out, the little things. I'm sure I'll fight more things that I haven't learned. People say, why don't you buy a newer chopper? I enjoy wrenching, and I'm into this for way cheaper than I could buy an 800 series. And then when I get if I got an 800 series, it would be a total different animal as far as figuring it all out. Yeah, I'm excited to keep this thing alive. That's what we're gonna call it. Gotta keep them out of the wet spots. None of us want to pull a truck, and I haven't done so yet. I don't plan on it. I don't want to get stuck either. That was a little slimy. Oh yeah. Woo! Someday I gotta put the gearbox in this so I got four-wheel drive again. This field, it had some grub damage, and it actually grew up because we had so much moisture. If you guys remember previously, nothing was growing up in there. It's mostly just weeds and junk. and the property next door sold, but this isn't selling. So my plan is gonna be to seed this down this fall. And that's why I don't feel as bad about like making little ruts like that. Oh, the water level is literally right there. Like, ooh. So he did rake it up as far as he could. But as you see, I made that rut. Those brown spots, black spots, those will all be okay. The grass will grow up. Might make it a little bumpy, but it's not the first time this field's flooded. I can't blame any of our fields after how much water we had to not have some wet spots in them. There's definitely some grass here. Not the most. It will be dried out if that sun stays out for a little bit. It'll dry out. They're right over that hedrow, tree line. So hammering that out, but you can see all the water is right up to the pond, right up to the field. I guess maybe you can't see it, but it is right there. Side by side, I can tell this was mowed with the old mower. So see how it's grouped and it's clumpy? It's like a big clump. This one was mowed with the new mower, much wider, laid flat. It's not all grouped up. So yeah, Nico wants to go chase the deer that's right out there. Good looking buck, had a good antler on it. Antlers, I guess. I guess we'll go drop that truck off or unload that truck, and then I'll come back down and see where I'm at. All the bikers are out today. See, this is the issue. They ride like they're a car. Dangerous. This feed's a little green, but we're gonna get these rows done. We'll leave the bottom to get tomorrow, and then we'll push hard tomorrow. They got a bunch mowed. They say it's a ton of feed, so we will see tomorrow. I'll get him topped off, and yeah. It's a killer night. So we got 15 acres, maybe more, 16 acres, 17 acres that's dropped. We're supposed to get rain tomorrow at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then it's supposed to rain for a few days. They ran the mowers this afternoon and they said there's a lot of grass there. He figures the next field, which is 8 acres, has 4 loads in it. So that's a good number for 4 of which truck. Who knows? We'll see. But we got the little bit in the bottom we'll let dry down because it's super wet. But we mowed off all up here. Got the Mac here, Nico here. So I really appreciate you guys watching along. Yeah, second cut with the new mower. Things have been pretty good other than the rain, but we battle that as farmers no matter what. So can't really do anything about that, but keep pushing through. And I know there hasn't been that much action, which is good because usually action is destruction, things like that. But you know, I'm happy. I hope you guys are enjoying tagging along on this whole journey of my life and farming here and whatnot. So I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next video. We're gonna get some more grass done, hopefully. So have a good one.